Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Patek Philippe 5270G-001 Perpetual Calendar Chronograph. You can see and purchase this white gold Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar Chronograph on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with accessories included in the sale, additional high-res images, and of course complete pricing details for this Patek Philippe. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this is the original 2011 debut variant, the first generation of the 5270, and to the eyes of many, my own included, this is the cleanest and purest dial iteration offered over the 3 generations to date. Now you can see across the round of the case, not including the crown or the pushers, the watch is 41 millimeters, so it has good presence on the wrist. This is large by the standards of a Patek, although not oversized by the standards of its grand complications. Now in terms of thickness, it's quite reasonable, 12.5 millimeters with a nicely concave bezel and a sloped sapphire that really does help a tight dress cuff or sleeve to slide up and over the watch. It's hardly ungainly and it won't be an encumbrance on formal attire. From lug to lug, the watch has good but not overwhelming span, 49.5 millimeters across the wrist. It's an easy watch to wear on a smaller wrist such as mine, and I would say that given the way the lugs taper and the minimal span, the watch could probably be worn on a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters in circumference with no sense of disproportion. It would be quite secure and quite in proportion to the size of a wrist that's that size, provided it's mostly flat across the top, oval in profile. Now the strap is of exceptionally high quality. It's a dark black rectangular scale monotone stitch alligator leather. It does feature Patek Philippe's now signature pull tabs, such that a simple spring and pull tab allows you to remove the strap without resorting to tools, without risking the finish of the white gold lugs against your skill with a screwdriver. Very simple to swap straps on this watch. You'll also note a very substantial white gold Patek Philippe Calatrava Cross filigree style single fold deployant. It has a lot of mass to it. Now you'll note that as a large gold deployant, it has a role in stabilizing the watch on your wrist. As with many large heavy buckles on large heavy watches, it has the happy effect of keeping the watch upright. It has no tendency to capsize or porpoise. If you're the type who likes to wear your watch loose, this one's not going to try to move on your wrist. It has a keel, almost like a sailboat. Now, the case shape is nuanced and handsome. The character lines are strong. You can see the step of the case flank, the fluting of the lugs. You can also see that the lugs themselves have a little bit of a vintage claw style with a step as they abut the flank of the case. It is all of high polish. There is no brushed or satin finish here. Everything catches the light and plays with it in beautiful fashion, and the concave bezel really does pair the visual mass of the watch. It wears with elegance. Now the dial, as I mentioned, is the first iteration. It lacks the tachymetric scale seen on its predecessor, the 5970, so because the movement is sized to fit the case, unlike the previous Lemania caliber, there's no need to create visual distractions such as the tachymetric scale to fill the dial of the watch and disguise the size of the underlying caliber. You'll also note that the sub-registers at 3 at 9 have been slightly dropped below the cannon pinion, the axis of the hands at center. Now there's a unique feature of this watch that's a little bit more legible in direct light, but it's the vertical striation, the graining of the dial. Silver opaline, it has a metallic accent to it, not unlike stainless steel, and if you're familiar with the 5235, it's very much of that effect. There's a beautiful railroad style seconds track outboard to allow easy reading of the chronograph seconds, and all of the indices, as well as the Foy style hands at center and the lancet seconds, are beautifully blackened white gold, incredibly handsome and simple. You have a leap year indicator between 4 and 5, and between 7 and 8 you have a AM/PM indicator, also known as your danger zone. There's a 122-year moon phase within the date wheel at 6 o'clock, and of course aperture style day and month at 12 o'clock. On the reverse side of the case, and this is where I want to draw your attention to the unique rack and snail minute jumper used by this chronograph, you can see the caliber 29-535. Now, it's a perpetual calendar, it's a chronograph, it's a moon phase, it is entirely in-house, unlike the preceding Lemania-based caliber, and to good effect, Patek Philippe makes excellent use of this broad display caseback. Now when I start the chronograph, it's about to turn over at 12 o'clock and jump the minute, so you'll be able to see the minute jumper of the watch in action right under my thumb. This is how it works. incredibly beautiful and poetic. So without further ado, that's all there is to it, but you'd be amazed at the level of hand tuning and watchmaking acumen required to achieve that. Now you can see it has a beautiful lateral clutch. What I like about the lateral clutch for a manual wind chronograph of a traditional bent is that you can see it. Vertical clutches are more sophisticated, but lateral clutches are more beautiful. You will want to see them, you will enjoy seeing them, and you'll note the additional refinement that Patek Philippe brings to the table with this one, in which the intermediate and driving wheels are fully jeweled, not mounted on the more conventional bushings. You'll note the black polished cap to the column wheel, and yes, you can see it individually toggling the hammers of the reset when I so choose to reset the chronograph. You can see the hammers fall at center. When the chronograph is restarted, watch the coupling engage the center wheel. And you can see everything performing its poetic dance, whether engaged or disengaged, the jumpers, the levers, the hammers, the wheels. This is the advantage of a manually wound caliber. And again, manually wound with a 65-hour power reserve, that's significantly more than the 48 of its predecessor. And while Patek Philippe no longer features the Geneva hallmark, the standard of the Patek Philippe seal has helped to raise general standards in high horology, not relax them in any respect. You'll also note the Gyromax-style free-sprung balance. Now it beats at 4 Hz, not 3 as in its predecessor, but yet you still have the increased power reserve. Moreover, when you closely examine the hairspring under a loupe, you'll see that as of 2011, this watch had not gone over to the Spiromax silicon hairspring. Instead, it still uses a handmade traditional Breguet overcoil for positional resistance to timing deviation. Exceptionally handsome, perhaps its simplest and most beautiful iteration. You can see this Patek Philippe 5270G-001 and purchase it on our website.